Welcome back to our series on Byzantine music. This will be part 5 of Byzantine characters. So up until now, we've discussed a lot of different characters, so I think it's a good time to review some of them. Let's see if you recognize these characters of ascent. We have the oligon, which tells us to go up one note. The kendimata, which instruct us to slide up one note. And the petasti, again, ascend one note. How about the oligon with one kendima to the side? That is an ascent of 2 notes. How about the oligon with the kendima underneath it? Again, an ascent of 2 notes. How about an oligon combined with a petasti, where the petasti is underneath? Again, an ascent of 2 notes. How about some characters of descent? What does this apostrophos tell you to do? You will be descending 1 note with respect to the previous note. How about the poroi here? It is a 2-note descent consecutively, so you're hitting each note on the way down. And the elafron? A different type of descent of 2 notes. It is transgressive this time, which means you will be jumping directly 2 notes below. You won't be hitting them on the way down. You'll be going directly to the note that's 2 notes below the one you're already on. So we've gone over characters that have quantity plus or minus 1 or plus or minus 2. So let's take a look at some that have quantitative value of plus or minus 3. The 2 top characters each instruct you to jump 3 notes. So we have an oligon with a kendima on the top, as opposed to the other 2 we just saw where the kendima was on the side or on the bottom. The kendima is on the top, and a petasti with a kendima on top. This is a +3 in Byzantine music. So if you're chanting a ni currently, you would jump up to a ra. Ni ra. So the notes in between, ni pa vu ra, but you wouldn't be hitting the pa and the vu, you would be jumping straight to the ra. Ni ra. Now the bottom character looks to be a combination of the elafron and the apostrophos, so mathematically -2 and -1, well that gives you a -3. So say you're chanting Ra and you see this character, then you will jump down to Ni. Ra, Ni. So here's an exercise we can try out to practice the new characters we've learned, as well as review some of the other newer characters, it's all new at this point, that we've discussed in previous videos, such as the klasma, which as you can see over here. If you remember, it's a character of timing that adds 1 beat to the note it affects. So let's try exercise 16 together. Ni ni pa vu ga ni ga 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 vu pa ni ga ni pa pa vu ga vi pa vi 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 ga vu pa vi pa vu ga vi ke vu ke vi ga vu ke vu ga vi ke zo ga zo ke vi ga ga vi ke zo ni vi ni zo ke vi vi zo ke vi ga ga ke vi ga vu kevo, vigavo, padipa, gavo, pani, gani, ni, ni, ni. So since we've discussed characters that have you go up or down 3 notes, we may as well also introduce the characters that instruct you to go up or down 4 notes. So the top 2 characters here instruct the chanter to jump up 4 notes from the current note. So if you're at ni, you would go up to the. Ni, the. Similarly here, it's the same thing, same story. So the top characters are simply an oligon and a petasti, but they are joined by what is called an ipsili. That's this character that pokes up there. And the ipsili is what creates the +4 jump. Now the bottom character over here, this is a new one. It's called a chamili, and it instructs you to jump down 4 notes from the current note. We can even take things a step further by combining or even rearranging the characters we've learned so far to make new characters that have other functions. For example, if we take the ipsili and move it to the left of the oligon, we create a new character that has a new function, up 5 notes. If we add a kedima next to the ipsili on the oligon, it becomes up 6 notes. And if we put the ipsili on top of the kedima, in this arrangement, it becomes up 7 notes. The chamili rearrangements on the bottom are also possible. So a chamili with a -4 value combined with an apostrophos, well, you guessed it, it's -5. And the same logic applies to these other chamili combinations, the chamili and the elafron here. And then we have -7 here, where we have the +4 chamili, combined with this elafron and apostrophos, combined is -3. So -4 -3, you have -7. So just as a refresher, the ipsili is added to characters to indicate +4 or more, depending on where it's placed on the oligon, and on any other characters that are combined with it. The chamili indicates -4 or more, depending on any other characters that are combined with it. So I'm putting this slide up here as a review of pretty much all of the characters we've discussed. I know it's easy to get overwhelmed by looking at all of these symbols, but it's important to keep in mind that you will see some of these far more often than others. So it may not be as important to memorize the character for +9, as that character hardly ever shows up in music anywhere. I mean, it may, but it's rare. The characters for +2, -2, +3, -3, they'll definitely show up. So pay closer attention to those characters. Now we can try our hand at a little bit more of a challenging exercise that will force us to tackle some of these newer quantitative characters. It'll also challenge our vocal ranges with many of these greater jumps up and down the scale. So let's give this a shot. Ni pa ni vu ni ga ni zi ni ken ni zo ni 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 zo ni ken ni